In 1980, an Italian horror director had to bring his own actors into court to prove he had not killed them. That sounds like a movie plot, but it really happened. Some horror films became so shocking that governments seized copies, blocked theaters, and even tried to make certain movies disappear forever. Number 20. Cannibal Holocaust. Cannibal Holocaust became one of the most feared movies ever released, and part of that fear came from people believing the violence might be real. The movie arrived in 1980 and showed a group of filmmakers entering the Amazon jungle. What followed looked so real that Italian authorities became suspicious. Director Ruggero Deodato was arrested, and he had to prove that the actors seen dying in the movie were actually alive. Some of them even appeared in court. The movie also contained real animal deaths, which created even more anger around the world. Reports often say the film was banned in more than 40 countries. Italy stopped it soon after release, while places such as Britain, Australia, and Norway also restricted or banned versions of it. That controversy became part of the legend. Cannibal Holocaust was no longer simply a horror movie. It became a movie people whispered about, traded secretly, and searched for because authorities had told them they should not see it. Number 19. Cannibal Ferox. One horror movie actually turned its bans into an advertising tool. Cannibal Ferox arrived in 1981 and was promoted with the wild claim that it had been banned in 31 countries. Whether every part of that marketing claim was exact became less important than the message behind it. This was supposed to be a movie governments did not want people watching. The story follows people traveling into the jungle and becoming trapped in brutal violence involving cannibals, criminals, and revenge. Like Cannibal Holocaust, the movie became highly controversial because it included real animal cruelty along with fake human violence. That combination caused major problems with censors. Britain placed the movie among titles connected to the video nasty panic. Germany also heavily restricted the film, while other countries demanded cuts before allowing any legal release. The strange result was that censorship helped the movie become famous. Many viewers had never watched Cannibal Ferox, but they knew its reputation. Being banned became the main reason curious horror fans wanted to find it. Number 18. I Spit on Your Grave. Few horror movies created arguments as fierce as I Spit on Your Grave. Released in 1978, the movie follows a woman who survives a terrible attack and later takes revenge on the men responsible. The basic story sounds simple. The problem was the way the movie showed the violence. Scenes of sexual assault lasted far longer than most audiences expected, and critics argued that the movie crossed the line between showing suffering and exploiting it. Many countries reacted strongly. The movie was banned or heavily restricted in places including Ireland, Norway, Iceland, West Germany, and Britain. Other countries allowed versions only after major cuts. Even in the United States, the movie faced protests, harsh reviews, and battles over where it could be shown. Yet the movie never disappeared. Instead, the controversy kept it alive. Some viewers saw it as a revenge story about a survivor fighting back. Others believed the movie used shocking violence simply to attract attention. That debate still follows I Spit on Your Grave decades later. Number 17. The Last House on the Left. Before Wes Craven created famous horror characters, he made a movie that many theaters did not want to touch. The Last House on the Left was released in 1972. Its story follows two young women who are kidnapped by violent criminals. The criminals later reach the home of one victim, without realizing that her parents live there. When the parents discover what happened, the movie turns into a brutal revenge story. Audiences were shocked by how dirty and realistic everything looked. There were no glamorous monsters, and almost no safe distance between viewers and the violence. Britain became one of the biggest problems for the movie. For years, the film could not receive normal approval for home release in its complete form. Different edited versions appeared before wider legal availability finally came decades later. Australia and West Germany also restricted the movie. The strange part is that Wes Craven later became a major Hollywood director. But his first feature began as something many authorities believed audiences simply should not be allowed to watch. Number 16. Faces of Death. In the late 1970s, people heard rumors about a movie that supposedly showed real death. That movie was Faces of Death. Released in 1978, it was presented almost like a documentary. Viewers were shown accidents, bodies, animal deaths, executions, and other disturbing material. Some footage was real. Other scenes were created using actors and special effects. But audiences often did not know which parts were fake. That mystery became the perfect advertising machine. The movie was famously promoted as being banned in 46 countries. That number became part of horror history, even though the exact legal situation was different from country to country. Britain placed the movie inside the video nasty controversy. Australia and New Zealand also restricted it. For years, copies moved through video stores, private collections, and underground trading. Faces of Death became powerful because people believed they might see something they were never supposed to see. Long before shocking clips could spread across the internet, this movie offered audiences the same dangerous promise. Watch this, and you might regret it. Number 15. The Evil Dead. Today, The Evil Dead is considered a horror classic. In the early 1980s, authorities in several countries treated it very differently. Sam Raimi made the movie with a small budget and a group of young filmmakers. The story sends several friends to a cabin in the woods, where they accidentally release an evil force. What follows is wild supernatural violence. Bodies change, blood flies, demons attack, characters are injured in strange and graphic ways. Britain became especially important to the history of the film. During the video nasty panic, police seized copies from stores because authorities feared that violent home videos could harm viewers. Germany also heavily restricted The Evil Dead for years. Other markets demanded cuts or refused normal releases. That seems strange now because the movie later became part of a major horror series. Bruce Campbell became a cult star, and Sam Raimi eventually directed huge Hollywood movies. But at one point, owning or selling certain copies of The Evil Dead could bring serious attention from police and censorship authorities. Number 14. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Here is something strange about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Many people remember it as extremely bloody, yet the movie actually shows less blood than its reputation suggests. The real problem was fear. Released in 1974, the story follows young travelers who discover a family of killers in rural Texas. Director Tobe Hooper used rough camera work, screaming, strange sounds, and dirty locations to make viewers feel trapped. That atmosphere caused serious trouble with censors. Britain refused normal approval for the movie for many years. Australia also banned early versions before edited releases became available. West Germany placed major restrictions on the film as well. The title alone created panic. Some audiences even believed the movie showed a completely true story, although the plot was fictional and only loosely inspired by real criminal cases. For decades, people searched for forbidden copies. The movie later became one of the most important horror films ever made. Its greatest weapon was not gore. It was the feeling that something terrible could actually happen. Number 13. Zombie. One scene made Zombie famous enough to scare censors around the world. A woman is pulled slowly toward a broken piece of wood, and the sharp point moves directly toward her eye. Director Lucio Fulci refused to look away. Released in 1979, Zombie became known for extreme makeup effects, rotting bodies, bloody attacks, and one unforgettable fight between a zombie and a shark. Yes, a real shark appears in the movie. Britain later connected Zombie with the video nasty panic, and police seized copies during raids on video stores. Other European countries demanded cuts, especially to the most graphic scenes. In some places, viewers could legally watch only edited versions. Fulci became famous for pushing gore further than many filmmakers of the time. But censorship helped his reputation grow. Fans wanted the scenes authorities removed. Collectors searched for complete versions from other countries. Zombie slowly became one of the most famous Italian horror movies ever made. Its story was simple. Its images were almost impossible to forget. Number 12. Possession. Possession was so unusual that even horror fans had trouble explaining what they had just watched. Released in 1981, the movie stars Isabelle Adjani and Sam Neill as a married couple falling apart. At first, it feels like a painful relationship drama. Then everything changes. The story begins mixing jealousy, madness, strange creatures, violence, and body horror. One subway scene became especially famous because Adjani gives an intense physical performance that looks almost impossible to control. The movie competed at the Cannes Film Festival, where Adjani won major praise for her acting. But that did not protect Possession from censorship. Britain later included it among films caught inside the video nasty era. The United States received a heavily shortened version that removed large parts of the original story. For years, many viewers never saw the complete movie. That damaged its reputation at first because the edited version was confusing. Later, restored releases changed everything. Possession gained a new audience and became a major cult film. Censorship had hidden part of the movie that made it special. Number 11. The Beyond. Lucio Fulci appears again because few directors pushed horror imagery as far as he did. The Beyond was released in 1981. Its story begins with a hotel in Louisiana that appears to sit above one of the gates to hell. From there, logic becomes less important. The movie moves through strange visions: zombies, spiders, blindness, corpses, and violent deaths. Fulci wanted audiences to feel as though they were trapped inside a nightmare. Censors were not impressed. Britain connected The Beyond with the video nasty era, while Germany and other markets released heavily edited versions. Some countries removed violent scenes involving eyes, faces, and bodies. The movie also had problems reaching American audiences in its original form. For years, horror fans searched for better foreign copies because normal releases often removed important footage. That underground reputation helped The Beyond become a cult favorite. It was not famous because everyone could watch it. It became famous because many people could not. For horror collectors, finding the complete version became part of the experience. Number 10. Dead and Buried. Dead and Buried became part of a censorship panic, even though authorities later decided it did not deserve the same treatment as some other films. Released in 1981, the story takes place in a quiet coastal town. Visitors begin dying in strange and violent ways. Even more disturbing, some dead people appear to return. A local sheriff begins investigating and slowly discovers that something is deeply wrong with the entire community. The opening attack helped cause controversy because it was sudden, cruel, and unusually graphic for its time. Britain later placed the movie inside the wider video nasty investigation. Copies were seized, and the title became associated with films suspected of breaking obscenity laws. But Dead and Buried had an unusual ending to its censorship story. It was later cleared and removed from the strongest legal danger. By then, the damage and the publicity were already done. The movie had gained a forbidden reputation. Today, it remains a strange example of how a censorship panic could change the history of a film, even without a lasting ban. Number 9. A Serbian film. Few modern horror movies have caused legal problems in as many places as a Serbian film. Released in 2010, the movie follows a retired adult film performer who accepts a mysterious new job because he needs money. He soon discovers that the production is far more dangerous and disturbing than he expected. The movie contains extreme sexual violence, abuse, murder, and other material designed to shock viewers. Authorities reacted quickly. Australia refused the original version. New Zealand also blocked legal distribution. Norway banned the film, while other countries demanded large cuts or stopped screenings. Spain became part of a legal controversy when a festival director faced charges after showing the movie. Supporters argued that the film was using extreme horror as a political message about exploitation and control. Critics answered that some images went far beyond what was needed to make that point. Either way, the censorship became part of the movie. A Serbian film became famous among many people who had never watched it. Its reputation traveled faster than the film itself. Number 8. The Human Centipede 2. The first Human Centipede movie shocked audiences with its idea. The second movie shocked censorship boards with almost everything else. The Human Centipede 2 arrived in 2011. Instead of simply repeating the first story, director Tom Six made a darker film about a disturbed man who becomes obsessed with the original movie. He decides to create his own human centipede. The film uses black and white photography, but that did little to reduce its impact. Britain initially refused classification completely. That meant the movie could not legally receive a normal commercial release there. The British board pointed to sexual violence, humiliation, torture, and extreme suffering as major problems. Australia also rejected the original version, and New Zealand banned it. Later, edited versions became available in some places after scenes were removed. The controversy created free publicity. People wanted to know what could possibly be inside a movie that a national censorship board refused to classify. Once again, banning horror did not make curiosity disappear. It made curiosity stronger. Number 7. Grotesque. Grotesque is one of the clearest examples of a film being stopped because censors believed the violence had almost no acceptable limit. The Japanese movie was released in 2009. Its story is extremely simple. A young couple is kidnapped by a stranger. The attacker then tortures them while claiming that he wants to test their love and their will to survive. Most of the movie focuses on suffering, medical tools, injuries, and attempts to escape. There is very little relief. When the film was submitted in Britain, the BCPLFC refused classification. That decision meant it could not legally be sold or supplied through normal commercial channels in the country. The board argued that the movie focused heavily on torture and humiliation, without enough story or context to justify what viewers were seeing. That made Grotesque famous outside Japan. Many horror fans first heard about the movie because Britain had rejected it. The title became connected with the growing extreme horror movement of the 2000s. For some viewers, the ban became a warning. For others, it became an invitation. Number 6. Salò, or the 120 Days of Sodom. Salò is sometimes called horror, sometimes called political cinema, and sometimes called one of the most disturbing films ever made. Director Pier Paolo Pasolini released it in 1975. The story moves the work of writer Marquis de Sade into fascist Italy near the end of World War II. Powerful men capture young people and control nearly every part of their lives. The movie includes humiliation, sexual abuse, torture, and murder. Pasolini said the story was about power and what happens when powerful people begin treating human beings like objects. Many censorship boards focused on what appeared on screen. Italy stopped the movie shortly after release. Australia banned it for long periods. Britain struggled with legal distribution, while other countries allowed only edited versions. The director was murdered shortly before the film opened, adding another dark chapter to its history. Salò later became respected by some critics as serious political art, but that respect never removed the controversy. Decades later, it still creates arguments about the difference between art and exploitation. Number 5. Necromantic. Necromantic was made with a tiny budget, underground actors, and almost no chance of normal mainstream success. That became part of its power. The West German movie appeared in 1987. Its story follows a man who works cleaning accident scenes and develops an unhealthy obsession with dead bodies. The movie then explores necrophilia, death, relationships, and extreme violence in ways that few commercial films had attempted. Director Jörg Buttgereit created the movie outside the normal studio system. That meant Necromantic already felt like something audiences were not supposed to find. Authorities in several countries agreed. The film faced bans and seizures in places including Germany, Britain, Australia, and Singapore. Legal problems continued for years as different versions appeared. Necromantic became popular through underground screenings, copied tapes, imported releases, and horror collectors. Many people heard about it long before they could actually watch it. That is why the movie became an important cult title. It proved that a film did not need a major studio or wide theater release to create an international reputation. Sometimes, being difficult to find makes a movie even more powerful. Number 4. Maniac. Maniac created censorship trouble twice, more than 30 years apart. The original movie arrived in 1980 and starred Joe Spinell as a killer stalking women in New York City. Special effects artist Tom Savini created extremely graphic murder scenes. One effect involving a shotgun became especially famous because Savini himself appeared during the sequence. The movie faced bans, protests, and heavy cuts in several countries. Britain became one major problem area, while Australia also restricted releases. Then Hollywood remade Maniac in 2012 with Elijah Wood. Instead of calming the controversy, the new version created another censorship battle. New Zealand refused normal theatrical classification for the remake. One reason was the unusual camera style. Much of the movie is shown from the killer point of view, making audiences see attacks through his eyes. That choice made the violence feel more personal and uncomfortable. The two versions of Maniac show how censorship changes over time. Technology improved, audiences changed. But the basic question remained the same. How close should a horror movie allow viewers to get to a killer? Number 3. The Devils. The Devils created a censorship battle that has lasted longer than the careers of many filmmakers. Ken Russell directed the movie in 1971. It tells the story of religious and political conflict in 17th-century France, especially events connected with priest Urbain Grandier and accusations of demonic possession. The movie mixed history with shocking images of religion, sexuality, torture, and public hysteria. That caused immediate trouble. Italy banned the film, while Britain required cuts before allowing release. Other countries also removed scenes or limited screenings. But the most unusual part came later. For decades, audiences struggled to see the fullest version of the movie. Warner Bros. Controlled the film, and several removed sequences remained difficult to obtain through normal official releases. This created a strange situation. The Devils was not some unknown underground production. It had major actors, a famous director, large sets, and studio support. Yet parts of it became almost legendary because viewers knew footage existed that they were not being allowed to see. Censorship turned missing scenes into film history. Number 2. Haxan. More than 100 years ago, a silent movie was already frightening censorship boards. Haxan was released in 1922. The Swedish and Danish production explored old beliefs about witchcraft, demons, religious fear, and mental illness. Part documentary and part horror movie, it recreated strange historical ideas using costumes, special effects, demons, rituals, and images of supposed witch gatherings. For audiences in the early 1920s, some scenes were shocking. The movie included nudity, religious criticism, torture, and images of Satan. American authorities refused normal release of the original version, while other countries demanded cuts. Religious groups also attacked the movie. What makes Haxan important is its age. This happened decades before modern slasher films, zombie movies, or video nasties existed. Filmmakers had already discovered that horror could create political and religious arguments. Later generations rediscovered Haxan and began treating it as an important piece of movie history. The film survived censorship, changing technology, and almost a full century of new horror. Today, its strangest scenes can still surprise viewers. Number 1. Nosferatu. The strangest ban on this list was not caused by blood, violence, nudity, or torture. It was caused by copyright. Nosferatu appeared in 1922. Director F.W. Murnau wanted to make a movie based on Dracula by Bram Stoker, but the filmmakers did not have official permission, so they changed names and details. Count Dracula became Count Orlok. The title changed too, but the connection was still obvious. Stoker had died years earlier, but his widow Florence Stoker fought the filmmakers in court. She won. A German court ordered copies of Nosferatu to be destroyed. In theory, one of the most important horror movies ever made was supposed to disappear, but some prints had already traveled outside Germany. Those surviving copies were copied again and again. Because of them, Nosferatu survived. That makes its history almost as strange as its story. Many movies were banned because authorities believed they were dangerous. Nosferatu faced something even more final. A legal order that could have erased the entire film from history, and it failed. These movies show that censorship can sometimes create the exact result authorities want to prevent. Bans make people curious. Missing scenes become legends. Hidden copies become collector items. Some films on this list were later released legally, while others still exist in edited forms depending on the country. And this history goes much deeper. There are horror movies seized by police, films destroyed by courts, directors arrested over special effects, and scenes hidden inside studio vaults for decades. In future videos, we can explore the video nasties panic, horror directors who faced criminal charges, and banned movies that authorities tried to erase completely.